글로벌 경기 침체가 계속되면서 경기가 언제쯤 기지개를 펼 것인지에 관심이 쏠리고 있습니다. 불투명한 미래를 앞에 두고 국가 기업 간의 생존 경쟁도 더 치열해지고 있습니다. 불확실한 미래에 대비한 대응 전략 어떻게 세워야 할까요? 오늘 더 리더는 특별한 손님을 모셨습니다. 세계적 경영 컨설팅 전문가이자 들어오기 그룹 전략자문 대표인 마이클 트램인데요. 국내외 경제 전망과 기업들의 바람직한 대응 전략 알아보겠습니다. Mr. Trump, thank you very much for giving us the valuable chance to have an interview with you. Please say hello to our viewers.
Yes, Mr. Choi. Good morning to everybody. It's a big honor, big pleasure to be with you. Hello.
Yeah. So, do you come to Korea often?
Oh yes, indeed. I come regularly to Korea. Last time I've been here is just a couple of months ago. And typically, I'm in Korea 2-3 times per year.
2 to 3 times per year, yeah. So is there any special purpose for this trip?
Oh yeah, of course. This time, the special purpose of my trip is, of course, to open the key platform tomorrow and to be the anchorman to speak there. It's the 14th anniversary of Media Today, and I'm indeed very honored to be here.
So you are the head of the advisory of the 들어보았다 International Group. So would you please briefly introduce your company?
Yeah, with pleasure, Mr. Choi. The 들어보았다 Group is a combination of consulting and capital. Advising companies, that means we are a classical management consulting company. We help underperforming companies to improve their performance. With the other side of our business, we invest into companies, and we have built up a portfolio of companies reaching from medical equipment over pharmaceutical, IT, logistics, renewable energies, supplier companies, and all that combined makes a revenue of 8 billion euros with about 60,000 employees. We are based in Düsseldorf in Germany.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to talk about the global economy from now on. So how do you diagnose the current and the future global economy, especially what is your global economy forecast?
Yeah, well, we are certainly still not at the end of the crisis, and it is the aftermath of the crisis, I would say. When we look, first of all, to the countries where I am coming from in Europe, we can see that the economy is split in two directions. Mm-hmm. There are the more difficult countries in south of Europe, like Greece, mm-hmm. Portugal, mm-hmm. Spain, mm-hmm. and Italy. On the other side, we have also very strong performing countries, like Germany, mm-hmm. certainly, but also the Netherlands or mm-hmm. the Nordic countries. Mm-hmm. What will be the big interesting point is how France will move on in the mm-hmm. future. Mm-hmm. And whether France, under the leadership of Hollande and the Social Party, is able to make the necessary reforms, mm-hmm. the industry reforms, the political reforms, mm-hmm. the reforms in society, so that this country develops well. If this happens, then I'm sure the European Union and the Euro has a very fair chance to succeed.
Mm-hmm. So you're now focusing on the European countries. So the U.S. economy is showing the signs of recovery, but the unemployment rate is still a bit high. So with more money released and the tightened financial budget, when do you think the U.S. economy recovery hit its stride?
Yeah, Mr. Choi, you are right. There is a slight improvement, certainly, that we can see. On the other side, I think the US have still big challenges to overcome. Mm-hmm. There's on the one side the losing influence of the US dollar compared, for example, vis-à-vis the Chinese currency. Mm-hmm. There is certainly the fact we all observe that the US is losing its impact as innovator, as driver of mm-hmm. industrial change. Mm-hmm. There is, concerning me a little bit, the speed of the increase of the state deficit. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, I'm a bit unsure on how much the US is isolating itself in regards to the application of international policy and rules, such as commercial policy, such as environmental rules, such as international banking supervision rules. And that all gives me the impression that recovery of the US economy will certainly need still quite a lot of time. There are positive effects that I see in the US. I'm very impressed by the fact how they are able to develop themselves from an energy importer, from a dependent energy importer, into soon a country which is independent from energy, from oil imports, because of the new technology, exactly, because of the new technology of fracking. That will give the US economy, that new source of energy will give the US economy certainly a competitive advantage, a cost advantage. Energy will become cheaper. That is good for the economy. And secondly, I can also well imagine that the geopolitical interests from the US will change by that fact.
Yes. So you mentioned a little bit about the European countries, the eurozone. So, but there are some different scenarios on the prospect of the eurozone and the euro as well. So, can you talk a little bit about on that issue?
Yeah, you can very well imagine that the discussion about the euro is every day in our newspapers, every day in every politician and every businessman talk. I have a very clear, very straightforward view. The European Central Bank last year very clearly expressed that they will do everything possible to stabilize the euro. And when you look at the development of the markets, you see that this was a very, very strong signal, and that the investors, the citizens, the politicians have won again their trust in their confidence into the euro. On the other side, I do not exclude that maybe in the future, there might be a country which does not fulfill the requirements, might step out of the eurozone. I mean, I don't want to mention a certain country now, but the eurozone as such, the currency, the euro as such, is certainly secured for the future. I have no doubts on that.
So one of my questions is that those people are talking about the Brexit, the Greece exit from the eurozone. So actually, from the economics point of view, I just imagine that the Greece cannot escape from the crisis without the exiting the eurozone because of the exchange rate. Because of the exchange rate and the adjustment is necessary for the country. What do you think, say about?
Yeah, when you look over the last 6 to 12 months, you will see that Greece made enormous efforts to improve. Really, it's big cuts, strong reforms, really strong efforts. And I'm getting more and more confident that Greece can make it. It's not at all like 12 or 18 months, 24 months ago when everybody said, ooh, probably we need to get Greece out. We see that the politicians in Greece today really mean it serious. The improvements, the reforms show first improvements and signals which are positive. And let's be fair, after such an immense crisis, we cannot expect that the things are simply done overnight. We need to give the country some time. The country has all the support from its European alliance partners. The country has the support from the European Central Bank, and therefore we need to give them some time, and with the time the improvements will come.
Yeah. So the next issue is Japan. Japan is again one of the hard issues in the global economy. The Abenomics is the biggest bid of Japan's the Abe cabinet, but it seems to be a bit troubled in a trap. But the global economy seems to be on the same boat with this. The people are worrying the failure of Abenomics will have a great impact on the global economy itself. So what would you say about the future of the Abenomics?
Yeah, Mr. Choi, you see how much I'm hesitating to answer your question. Because first of all, I am not good in giving advice to politicians. On the other side, as a businessman, I believe that the Abenomics will not succeed. I am very, very skeptical. My observation is that the country, Japan, with this policy is going even more into an isolation, just looking for their own well-being at the moment. But what is maybe good for Japan at the moment is not good for them in the years to come. It is much more important to create a framework of political, of financial, social developments that allows the country to develop rather than stabilize in the situation it is now. So I'm really very, very skeptical about the long-term effect of Abenomics.
So what structural reformation is necessary for Japan?
I think, and this is not just because I watch Japan now over the last couple of weeks or months in connection with the Abenomics. I think looking at the Japanese economy over a longer period of 10, 15, 30 years, I think it is really crucial that the country opens up much more. The country needs its leaders, the political leaders, as well as the business leaders, need to much more on a global scale cooperate, become much more integrated on a global scale. And only if the country succeeds that with the opening of the society, the opening of its policy, the opening of the business relationships, then Japan will certainly have a fair chance.
So let me switch our gear to China. So slowing the Chinese economic growth is another source of fear in global economy. So what do you expect about the prospect for the Chinese economy?
I'm very positive about the Chinese development. And yes, we observe slowing down of the economic development at the level of maybe 7%. On the other side, looking ahead into the year 2018, 2020, my view is that we will constantly see a growth between 7, 8, maybe 8.5%. There is no doubt on that, given the strong growth of the new middle class, the power of the new consumer group, the need of the politicians to do something in the infrastructure for the country, also to avoid conflicts in case of unemployment. So I do not expect a negative development. There will be something 7 to 8%. I'm very, very interested to see how the Chinese industry becomes more a innovator rather than simply, so to say, simply a working bench for the world. What we see today with their innovation power, with their ideas, makes me confident that we have a good, positive development in China over the next years to come.
Yeah, but the international society, the request on the China is to switch from export-oriented economy to domestic demand economy. So do you think it's going to be successful?
Yeah, that is certainly a challenge, of course. We see with the companies that we support with our consulting activities that it is extremely important to have a localization of the products so that the demand of the Chinese customer is really met. It is not good enough to export from Europe or to export from Korea into China. Yes, we all want to do that, but we need to be aware of the interests, of the demand, of the requirements of these growing class of new middle class in China and their specific needs. If we are able to do that, if we are able to match that, if the industry is able to match that, then China, of course, is open, and because it needs those products. So I am more positive than negative in that perspective.
Okay, thank you. So from now, I want to hear some advice on Korean economy. Actually, these days, Germany is one of the role models for an economy. So, can you give us some advice from the experience of the economic development of Germany?
Yeah,
yeah.
Of course, with pleasure I do that. You see that similar to Korea, we have in Germany, of course, the large industrial conglomerates, be it the automotive industry with Volkswagen, Daimler, BMW, be it the chemical industry, BASF, Bayer, Lanxess, and many, many more, similar to the structure we have here in Korea. Nevertheless, what is very strong driver of the success of the German industry is the strong Mittelstand. Some call it hidden champions. I would say the German Mittelstand, the mid-sized companies.
Mid-sized companies.
Mid-sized
hidden
company,
champions.
the hidden champions.
Yeah.
Very often family-owned, very strong in their engineering base, aiming for quality rather than cost leadership. Focused on core business, focusing really on very precise engineering development, highly innovative, highly agile, highly flexible. And this is a creator of a lot of wealth and a lot of positive development. The Mittelstand, the hidden champions, so to say, they are also the generator for employment. When you see today how urgently in Germany we are looking for young engineers, we do not have enough engineers in Germany because the universities simply do not create enough engineers. So what we do is today, for the German Mittelstand, for the German hidden champions, we go out, we reach out to the engineers in Spain or anywhere else in south of Europe, so that we make it attractive for them to come to help us in Germany to develop those companies.
Yeah. So as you know, then the Korean economy is not an exception. It has been in a recession, and so having difficulty escaping from the recession. So what other the actions should be taken for the recovery?
First of all, I have to say, Mr. Choi, I'm a big fan of Korea and the Korean industry.
Yeah.
I know it because I'm coming here since so many years. On the other side, having said so, being aware of the success that you had in the past, that's the past and the present. You now need to look ahead.
Yeah.
I think what matters can be described in 3 points. Number 1, innovation. Number 2, transformation. Number 3, cooperation. What do I mean with that? I think you need to be, the companies, the industry, need to be highly innovative, open for new technologies. Allowing from the political side to give the companies enough freedom to invest into new technologies, being open to that. Second, transformation needs to be an attitude of the companies and the leaders of the companies to make a constant restructuring of the firm. It is not good enough to do that every 5 years, every 10 years when you've been in a crisis. Transformation must be an integral part of the gene code of a company so that it continuously develops. And number 3, cooperation. Cooperation is something certainly within the Korean industry, the companies within each other, within the country, on the other side, also you need to foster your good relationships to the United States, improve your relationships with the European companies, in particular the German companies. You are invited. And last but not least, I think you cannot make it without having a good, or better, an excellent relationship to China. So cooperation is key.
Yeah, cooperation is key. So you have a lot of experience on new technology and the business consulting as a former global CEO of Arthur D. Ritter, so one of the leading consulting groups. So if you had to pick a few promising new technology, what would that be?
Yeah, well, it is one of my favorite fields and my biggest interest to learn on a daily basis about new technologies. So I could give a whole speech for hours now about new technologies, but let me just focus about 2, maybe 3 items. First of all, what I observe is the integration, the combination of what we summarize today under the buzzword Internet 4.0. That means that the Internet gets combined more and more with the production, with the industry. So we create intelligent machines, be it cars which are driven automatically with the help of Internet, be it any kind of robotics, be it any kind of heavy machinery which is integrated into the system by Internet. I believe this creates an immense positive effect, unbelievable new ideas, new business models will come up with that. Cost structure will be completely revised. This offers tremendous opportunities. That is number one. I mentioned it before when I talked about the US. I'm also a big fan of the new technology around oil exploitation, which is fracking. I know that fracking is discussed in some countries, such as in Germany, for example, as maybe a difficult technology because of the danger that you have for the groundwater. On the other side, if it's well done, if you manage the risks of this new technology, then fracking will have an immense effect for the energy supply, and with that again also for the cost structure of the companies. Yeah, and then of course there are very specific industries, developments in the nanotechnology, biotechnology, gene technology, where I see over the years to come developments which you and I today are hardly able to imagine, very positive effects.
So what would be a new business with a positive outlook for Korean companies?
Yeah, Mr. Choi, new business. Maybe the new thing is that some established business needs to be newly done. As I said before, with new innovations. You are strong in heavy industry, you are strong in consumer business, you are strong in energy and telecommunication, chemical. So you cannot throw that away. But new would be to be even more innovative. New would be to transform that business to become even faster, even more agile. New could be to cooperate more on a global scale. And new could be that the politicians in your country create an atmosphere that allows small and medium-sized companies to develop similar and as strong as we have, for example, in Germany with the German Mittelstand or the hidden champions. That could be a new business idea.
Thank you. So, as you know, the technological development is accelerating, and the SNS social media is widespread now. So, having said this, the word of mouth effect is spreading a lot faster than past. So, what would be an appropriate strategy for the companies considering these changes?
Yeah, That is, of course, a very remarkable trend where we are all part of it. We, the companies, the politicians, the academia, the society needs to make best use of that and needs to positively apply to it. So first thing would be, don't be shy to apply it, become an integrate part of that new communication. But what I also observe among the many, many positive effects are sometimes the related risks. And for my taste, too often simply ideas are pushed out a bit too fast. And I would recommend to every leader, be it a politician, be it a business leader, sometimes to think twice before it is communicated via the social networks. Thinking before communicating is always good.
Yeah, that's very important word. This is the last question. So young Korean people are now having the hard times to finding a job. So is there any advice you can give them?
Oh yeah, it is one of my big interests over many years, to give advice to students, to young fellows who want to join the industry. And I see, of course, sometimes the difficulties that they have. I have just mentioned the situation in Spain. There is a simple truth. If the students are well educated, then it is much easier for them to find an appropriate and interesting place to work. So number one would be, do everything possible to have an excellent education. Have an education on one topic, but also think broad into other dimensions. Make internships, look outside your favorite subject where you are already an expert, but learn about others too. Number two, be mobile. Just be mobile and flexible. Be open to work abroad. Be open to work in other directions, in other pieces and parts of the country. Be open to work in companies which at first instance might be new for you. So be flexible and be mobile. And last but not least, bring in your energy. Say openly what is interesting for you. We, the business leaders, we are urgently looking for people like you. We need you. And the future is yours, and you need to grab it.
네, 지금까지 세계적 경영 컨설팅 기업인 드로기그룹의 마이클 트램 전략자문 대표로부터 글로벌 경제와 경영에 대한 진단과 해법을 들어봤습니다. 우리 경제에 대해서는 혁신과 구조개혁, 협조 등 세 가지의 조언을 했습니다. 오늘 바쁘신 일정 가운데 나와서 좋은 말씀해 주신 마이클 트램 대표님 감사드립니다. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Choi, thank you very much for your questions.